All right, this is Sam's Roadmap to Success, or Samantha's, which is funny because it's my name too. But anyway, so I just want to go over some of the things we talked about during today's session. So one of the first things I want to refer you to is the video above this one on how to help her not bark at strangers. Obviously, we've come a long way today on our relationship. But just remember to ignore her when she's barking or doing other unwanted behavior unless she's hurting another person, herself, or furniture in the house. The other thing I want to talk about is how to kind of go to the next step of this. So when I was giving her treats like this, I then, in the beginning stages, if I moved as much as I just did, I moved my leg, I moved my body, that was enough to get her barking all over again. If I even looked at her, that was enough to get her barking again. So you want to do these in micro stages when you have new people over. So having someone sit pretty still, and then as she gets more comfortable, giving her treats and starting to move around. Then what I did is I stood up and I gave her a treat. And then I started to walk around and I dropped treats around me. So what she associated that my walking around was going to give her treats. So she didn't want to bark at me. Now you can use the same kind of concept for when the grandkids are here and she wants to nip at their hands. You can do this in 2 different phases. If you need to, start with this first phase, which is putting a leash on her and giving her a treat when she watches the kids like run around. So if they're running around, going from one room to the next, or being kind of hyper and silly, whatever kind of environment that would trigger her to want to snap or nip at them, that's when you want to do this. So, and you can even stage it. Ask the girls to kind of get excited and run from one room to the next and get all excitable, chit-chatting, and sit and have her on a leash and give her treats for being calm. And if you can, keep the leash nice and loose so she could walk around, but you've got the end of it so she doesn't take off and nip the kids. Then you graduate to the next phase, which is letting her off leash, and you're giving her treats for just watching the kids run around. The next part is then phasing the treats out. So at first you might have to be giving her treats really frequently, and then over time you start to give her treats less and less, so eventually you don't need to, and you're just training her to ignore the behavior altogether. So that's how we're going to help her to stop nipping at other people. As for potty training, make sure you're going outside with her and giving her a treat after she goes potty. When she starts to go, say the word potty, and then when she's done, walk over, give her a treat, and say potty. Okay? The next important part is that if she does have an accident in the house, don't punish her, because then she'll think that just going potty is what's going to get her in trouble, and she won't want to go in front of you outside where you do want her to go. So just kind of ignore that behavior, let it go the best way that you can, but don't get upset with her. And then just really praise her a lot for going outside to get her excited. If you need to, use treats to get her to even go outside. If she's sit. If she's sitting at the top of the stairs, get some hot dogs, call her down, give her a hot dog, and then bring her out. So she starts to make the association that it's all positive. The next thing I want to talk about is passive training. So when she sits on her own, pet her or give her a treat if you have one handy and say sit. Like right now she's sitting. And you can just kind of wait for her to do it and then reward her, sit, and pair it with a word. The other thing that she's been offering is she'll lay down on her own, and so then I'll give her a treat and say down. And as you work on this, eventually you'll be able to say sit, and she'll sit, and say down, and she'll lay down. But that'll take a little bit of time, but this is a great way to kind of train her on how to sit and lay down. No furniture for the next 30 days, and then after that you can do furniture with permission. Remember, you're going to invite her up on the furniture to do that, and she can only come up onto the furniture when you say yes that she can come up, because that will help her see herself in the correct position with the rest of the family. And then was there anything else that we talked about that I haven't covered? Anything else that's pretty big? Okay. And mostly just try to overall ignore behaviors that you don't want her to keep doing, like barking at you or barking at anyone else, and then reward the good behavior. So remember to keep in mind what you want. So if she's sitting and being a good girl when she wouldn't otherwise be doing that, make sure you're petting her, giving her treats, telling her how good she is, so she knows that kind of attention, what to do to get really positive and good attention. Oh, and last thing, if she is starting to get growly and she's up on your lap or something and someone's approaching, if she gets growly, put her on the floor immediately, so she associates being that kind of protective is getting on the floor and being farther from you, so she learns to not do that. And last, I want to remind you that everything you do trains your dog, only sometimes you mean it.